Hey guys, it's Nolan. Hope everyone's well. Today I'm going to go through a few indices, see what they're saying. And firstly, I'm going to start off with the DAX. Now, originally, a few weeks ago now, I was actually looking for sell opportunities on the DAX, and the reason was we were underneath this trend line. We'd come into the trend line, and obviously looking for further downside as the weekly was making lower highs and lower lows, but we have broken out, okay, and not just broken the trend line, but we've actually changed cycle on the weekly, and that is because in the price action was making these lower highs, as you can see, lower lows, but now we've made a higher high, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of buying. And this week at the moment, with 1 day left of trading, is actually a doji candle at the moment. So it opened about 14,312 and the current price is 14,310. So almost a week ago where it opened, we're at exactly the same price. So this could be the start of a little bit of a pullback. So basically what I would be looking for is now, we've had the lower highs, lower lows. I'm sorry about the color. I will change that in a minute. I'll be looking for a higher low to form and then further upside. So let me just change the color on that so you can see. Okay. So I'll be looking for a higher low to form. Now we have had a fairly big move here. Does that mean we get a fairly deep correction? Not necessarily, because on the DAX, we can move and have quite shallow retracements and then continue to the upside. First point of call, if I was looking at the weekly, would be the previous swing high here as an area to come back into. And then look from there. And if we broke further to the downside, I'd be looking at 13.6, where you can see here we have found support. So it's a couple of areas to look for. That's if you were looking on the weekly, but if you were looking on a 4-hour maybe, because not many people trade the weekly, but they'll use the weekly as a guide, if you like. So the 4-hour, as you can see, making higher highs, higher lows. Now, depending on where you draw the trend line, well, if you were to draw this trend line, I don't really see that as realistic. So I've been more inclined to draw this trend line. And then 4-hour traders or traders on the smaller time frame can look for price to push towards this trend line and then to start pushing to the upside. So you'll be literally, just letting that come into the trend line. Then you'll be looking for signs of buyers coming in. Okay, so definitely for me, because we've seen that change of cycle on the weekly, I would now be looking for buying opportunities. But I think, like I say, just because this weekly is looking, well, it is a doji at the moment with a day to go, I would be looking at a little bit of a correction first. So yeah, DAX, I'm definitely bullish, but looking at this weekly, I think we are due a correction. NASDAQ. Now, NASDAQ is slightly different to the DAX. In fact, I'm just going to go back to the DAX for a second. I just want to show you something. Forget the moving averages, but we've got the RSI here, and you can see where we've made this low and lower low here. On the RSI, we've made this low and higher low here. So that was a clue to us to suggest that, okay, well, this downtrend may be starting to end, as we're seeing lower lows in price, but higher lows on the RSI. So NASDAQ is giving us something very, very similar, as in, don't worry about the moving averages for a second, but can you see price making a low, lower low, and low, higher low? Okay, so it's giving us a little bit of a clue here. Now this is different. The NASDAQ is different because we are still officially in a weekly downtrend because we haven't changed cycle. Okay, so we're still making lower highs, lower lows, but the RSI is giving us a potential sign that we are likely to at least push this trend line, but potentially break to the upside. First things first though, we're looking for price to come and test the trend line and then see what happens from there. So this is looking bullish as well. 4 hour, we can see the push up, push down, push up, higher high. So we're looking for a lower high to form. Did I say that was the 4 hour? I don't know. That's the daily anyway. 4 hour, it's a little bit nicer. Okay, we can see that push up, higher low, higher high, and now we're looking for a higher low to form. So, you know, there's different ways you can look for higher lows to form. Or where they could potentially form. You could use moving averages, you could use, you know, levels, you could use fibs. But I do see actually straight away, you know, looking at this, it might have actually formed a higher low already. What I'm seeing is this little zone here. Bear with me a sec, guys. I just want to, yeah, there we go. Can you see this little bit of an area here, 11.6, where we had resistance. We've actually tapped into that area, and look what happened. Buyers came in. So we might have pulled back, and we might be going bullish now. However, one thing I've noticed, just going back to the left here, is we pulled back here and tested it again, this little zone. So we might do the same. We might see this push back into the zone. Now if we do, what you want to be doing is setting alerts around 11.6. I'm just going to do that now. Daily resistance. So if price was to come into that level, you could drop down into a smaller time frame and then look for buying opportunities. But yeah, this is looking like it's double bottomed here. This is your neckline, or in this case resistance, and we've broken and retested. So yeah, this is looking pretty nice for upside as well. We just need to start to see those higher highs and higher lows on the smaller time frame. This is the 1 hour. You can see the high, lower high, lower high, low, lower low, lower low. So on the 1 hour, we haven't changed cycle yet. But as soon as we do on that 1 hour, then boom, we are looking for longs. So yeah, there's the low, there's the high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then we'd be looking for basically this to happen. And ideally, we trade the higher low and then do that. So yeah, keep your eyes on this. 1 hour traders, you can watch that 1 hour cyclicity. If you are end of day traders, then again, look for potential rejection of this zone here. But this is looking pretty good for upside, guys, as well. So even if you just traded it up to this trend line, took off, you know, 90% of the trade, left a little bit running at risk free, it might actually break through, and it could be a trade that you could keep for a while. Once this price has broke through this trend line, if it does, then you can look for an add-in trade. But yeah, this is looking good for longs as well. So DAX and NASDAQ. DAX, I think, needs a little bit of a correction. NASDAQ might have corrected enough, but it looks bullish. Both look bullish. S&P weekly, similar to the NASDAQ in a sense that we are still trading underneath this trend line, and we're still making lower highs, lower lows. If we put the RSI again, we get this similar situation where we've made a low, lower low, low, higher low. So that is looking very, very similar to NASDAQ in that respect. Lovely cyclicity here on the daily. We got the low, the high, higher low, higher high. Looking for price now to form a higher low. 4 hour, you can see that momentum to the upside. Trend line, we could look for price to come and reject this trend line. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of a deeper retracement. If we draw a fib, maybe I just want to have a little look to see if there's any fib levels there. So 61.8% fib level there, which kind of matches up with this swing high here. So that would be very interesting to me. About 38, we'll call it 38.60. So that looks decent. So we could look for price to push towards this trend line. 61.8% fib, previous swing high. We might see buyers come in there. Alternatively, just like we could do on the NASDAQ, is drop down to that 1 hour and start seeing higher highs, higher lows, breaking through after these lower highs and lower lows. And you can see here we've got our trend line. Price is making these lower highs, lower lows. So until we change cycle here, then we're still basically in a correction. So a couple of things you can do. You can look for potentially price may come and bounce off this trend line. You could use fib levels, or if you've got the time, you can look at the 1 hour and look for the break of cycle, the change of cycle, and trade that first lower high. But either way, guys, for me, the DAX, NASDAQ, S&P, they're all looking bullish. It's just getting into the trade. So watch them carefully. We're getting into a period of time called where we see what's called the Santa rally, where often we see the indices become bullish as we get closer to Christmas. So this could be a really, really good time to get long on the indices. But what I will say is, before you get long, make sure you are seeing higher highs and higher lows, at least on that hourly time frame. Okay, because that is your sign that price is starting to push to the upside. That's it from me. Hope you enjoy that indices special. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.